from the MK Council. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the program. You know, these marches, people are allowed to march. It's sad when violence results.
Yes, you know, if you'd recall, in 2016, on the 17th of December, when we first had our assembly at Nasrec, one of the, things we raised was that those who are benefiting from the status quo, the wrong things that are happening, are not going to let go without a fight. Strange things are happening, as you can see. Today we had a march to Luthuli House demanding that the ANC should not take any decision on the former president. Of course, the ANC and its constituent structures have the right to decide, on whatever matter that they wish to have addressed. It is strange that we now have people who are sitting outside of the ANC, structures and bodies that are sitting outside of the ANC, marching to the Luthuli House saying, hands off the president of the country. Well, we are in a democracy. I don't think that it was expected that there would be any free association of citizens that would be meddled with in the business that they have gathered around the cause that they want to sponsor. They will have people interfering with their business by those who are not part of them. But that's what is happening now. What is important, of course, on our part was that there shouldn't be desperation in our communities around what is happening now. To a point where people feel they've got to take the law into their hands. We, as former members of Umkhonto, we are quite confident about South Africa's security establishment and law enforcement agency to be in charge of any situation, any eventuality that we may come up against. They are very professional people there. And not only just that, when it comes to the premier security, organization of this country, which is the military, we have in its command, in its leadership, in its authority, very tested, leaders there who would be able to handle any situation.
So what would you say to the argument that, okay, these people may have come to Luthuli House to say, do not remove the president. They are actually talking about the head of the country, not the head of the party, and that's what they were marching for. That they weren't saying we want to meddle in your politics inside your party, but you're a threat to their president of the country.
Yes, of course, they have, as citizens, the right to express their views about the head of state. The point is that for them to march on Luthuli House and say to the ANC, hands off one of your members, regardless of how the membership, the constituency within the ANC feels about issues, I think that's where the whole, thing is problematic. But of course, we have a system. Our, electoral system is such that the president of the country is decided upon by the party that has won the majority of votes. To that extent, for as long as it is the ANC that is in government, it is the ANC that will decide who the president of the country is until the electoral system is changed. So the overzealousness of those who are protesting today, it's unfortunately misplaced sentiment.
Who do you think stands to benefit from this? I mean, who are the sponsors of this hashtag Hands Off Zuma campaign? Well, what is now known is that the conference of the ANC in December, when it adjourned its business, everyone was of a common
a view that firstly, we must make sure that there's the renewal of the party, but secondly, that there must be the rehabilitation of our economy. We must reignite our economy, we must create jobs, and in order to do that, the NEC has been landed with that responsibility to chart the way forward. And the NEC, in its wisdom, the decisions that it is taking now is in furtherance of that sentiment of the ANC conference. So those who are saying that we should not embark on an aggressive renewal of the party, we should not reignite the economy, we should not create jobs, can only be enemies of progress in our country, can only be enemies of change.
All right, so people would be a little bit confused watching Mbeds this afternoon, because they would have seen the BLF hands-off Zuma team arriving, handing over this memorandum to the ANC Secretary General. The ANC Secretary General warmly receiving them, saying, "You've been peaceful, thank you for this, I'll take this to the NWC." And then we see ANC supporters heckling the Secretary General of the party. Explain this to people from the outside looking in. What does this mean?
Of course, the events you are describing are a function of there's still too high levels of political intolerance in our country. What the Secretary General of the ANC was doing, in my view, was quite appropriate. Here were people publicly demonstrating their concern, and they had a memorandum to hand over to the ANC, and as the chief administrator, he was there to receive it. Nothing wrong with that. And I think those who heckled and they were throwing missiles at the Secretary General, it is the kind of intolerance that we should actually, all of us, make sure that we dissuade people from going in that direction.
We've run out of time, but very briefly, is the party managing this situation? This transition that it's being called?
I am of the view that the party leadership is managing the transition to the best of their ability. And that is why it is important, of course, that any suggested attack on the decisions that are taken by the legitimate structures of the ANC must actually be thwarted. The membership of the ANC has a responsibility to embark on popular manifestations that are in support of the leadership of the ANC and its decision, so that we can have the whole process managed in a more efficient way.
Mr. Makwetla, thank you very much indeed for sharing your thoughts with us this evening. Thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, so that's Thabang Makwetla from the MK Council expressing his thoughts and his views. We'll have more for you on the channel after this.